Man, Josh, you just never know. It's always different every time we come on here. I'm like, what's going on tonight? Apparently, Randy Bruce is gone, everybody. And they brought us back. They was like, hey, we want y'all back. So me and Josh are back tonight. We got a great episode, everybody. Just want everybody to tune in. We're going to do something special tonight since it's just me and Josh. If you hit me in my DMs on my IG page, you can come talk to us after the first break. We'll bring somebody on after the first break. We'll see who pops in. You never know who's going to pop in on Survivor Now podcast. So, Josh, how your day going?
It's going pretty good. Pretty full day, but always happy to, get to this point in the day where you're going to sit back, watch Survivor, then come on here and hang out with you and talk about what we just saw, for better, for worse in the episode. Like, we lost some good ones tonight, but, still always fun to be here.
I lost everybody. Hey, look, I only got one person left on my fantasy
team. That was
a
rough night for your draft team, I got to say. That was a really rough night.
I don't know about everybody else, but I took a beating tonight on that one. So
you sure did.
But I gotta say, my person that's left is Star, and Star is the most interesting. Go put your name down on a piece of paper, vote person this season.
Yes, so, she's got that going for her for sure.
I'm just gonna live off that right now because I don't know if I'm gonna survive to the end, but I'm gonna do a good job. I'm gonna make a good run of it. But you know what? Let's jump right into the episode. For all the Survivor players out there, this was a good episode. I thought it was a very good episode on how to try to manage the merge when you are sitting on that will I make the jury? Will I not make the jury? Do we, the challenges before you get there? And it's like, that's a hard thing. Now you got all day to think about it. How do you think it started off when everybody was kind of trying to figure out who they're going to vote out?
You mean at the very beginning of the episode?
At the beginning of the episode, they was like, who are we looking at? Who's
yeah. See, it's tough because they go from such small tribes where, there's not that many data points to go off of and only so few options. So all of a sudden, an abundance of options, but with not a ton of time to get it figured, to get it all figured out. And then they're going to turn around immediately, one day after voting off Charity, who, was just someone who was kind of on the bottom, didn't really have anybody sticking up for her. And then they're going to have to figure it out again. When there's not really any clear power structure, because they were all in such small tribes and nobody other than Cedric, Mary, and Say went to tribal council more than once. So we still don't know a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. We just know who doesn't really have anybody sticking their neck out for them. So yeah, I don't envy that position for these players, right after the merge, trying to get everything figured out. Do not envy that position at all. It's probably really hard.
We got a question that's going to help us out. Anthony said, you guys feel like Sid kept Justine and Bianca, he would have been safe? It's hard to say.
Yeah, it is hard to say. Justin, I mean, I don't know. I think everyone on the original Green Tribe didn't really have that much sway or influence, and I think Mary seems to have ingratiated herself decently well. But yeah, I don't know how much keeping Justin would have done for him. I do think that potentially keeping Bianca could have saved him because Bianca was pretty well connected on the original Purple Tribe, and she might have been going to bat for him, especially because, according to her interviews, at least, it sounded like that they had a pretty good relationship going. He was the one who she trusted to tell that she didn't that she had lost her vote. So True. I do think, obviously hindsight's 2020. We don't know how it all would have shaken out, but it probably would have good to have someone like Bianca on his side who had more connections and more influence.
It was interesting. I was watching as Joe was talking to Mitch, and in the game of Survivor, no matter how you think you're coming off, when they do those little interviews and they show people and you see it for the first time, it's like, Mitch, you're a nice guy, but you're a threat. I'm like, is Mitch really a threat?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I posted that on Blue Sky about how if Mitch is that much of a threat, how nobody is going to bat for him. He doesn't seem to have any super tight connections. His tightest connection was Charity, who just left. And yeah, I get the sense that he's a threat as far as challenges go, but so is half the cast. We saw
Except for my guy Cedric. Cedric is not a
Cedric, not exactly a challenge threat. And there's a couple others who are not exactly challenge threats. But, we just saw these people break the record for this tough challenge. And they were David and Joe, they were making that look easy. Doing so much of that just holding on with one hand.
David made it look easy, like he was drinking milk.
Mhm.
He just like
Yeah.
that. He's like, oh, this is whatever. And I was like,
Yeah. That milk is it's
that must be,
it's doing
look,
something for him.
that's that
Yeah.
whole
So
milk.
so Mitch, again, I get that he's a challenge threat, like half the cast is, but I don't know. Is he really that much of a threat if he's not like that well connected? I feel like the people who are real threats like at this point, who are the people who are like standing in your way of getting there. Like Mitch is, I mean, maybe if he gets there, maybe he's going to win, but like, is he going to get there? Like, no one, he's not that connected to anybody.
Yeah, I don't think any. I think the way the tribes are breaking down. This is how Survivor plays when you make it to the merge, or you make it to that teeter topper of the merge, where people now have to make a decision. You're gonna have to backstab somebody.
Yeah.
There's no game in Survivor where you don't have to backstab somebody to get to the final three. So you might have to backstab until you get to the final three. But we see everybody like Joe's like, hey, I'm gonna paint a target on Mitch. We saw Say where she's like, hey, I'm gonna start talking to people, but I think her conversation was the most candid conversation in reference to if I don't like you, I don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
This island is not going to change the way I deal with people. And that's kind of honesty that you don't get out of Survivor. I got to give her that. You don't get that kind of honesty because everybody's want to ingratiate you to themselves and be like, no, I wouldn't do this. And then you get voted and you're mad. But she was like, hey, if I don't know you, I don't really talk to you. And they kind of already laid the foundation for the direction they want to go into. It's just a matter of editing showed us like Mitch might be the vote tonight, but Say might be the vote tonight. Then it was Cedric might be the vote tonight. I mean, we had a lot of names floating around, but nobody was looking to say, you know what? How about we take a big threat? Except for Kyle. Kyle wanted to take a big shot.
Yeah.
But that whole first part of the episode tonight was just like painting a picture of everybody's personality.
Yeah.
And how they view the merge. I think the most relaxed person, like you said, Mary was like, it is what it is tonight. I'm not really worried about anything.
Yeah, and that we just saw that from her. Did she even get a confessional? I don't know if she got a confessional.
No, we hadn't heard from her tonight.
We saw some conversations with her, and then we also saw her speak at tribal council like that. But I don't know if we got any confessionals from her, like giving her strategic insight to where she's at right now. But yeah, either way, she seems to be in like a decently good spot. I don't know if she's in a super powerful, influential spot, but I don't think anybody's looking at her anytime soon.
Well, I didn't think Chrissy was going to have any type of influence on tonight's episode until I was like, wait a minute, they got her. She's having a full conversation. You know, she's trying to go ahead and make sure she's playing the game. So it was pretty interesting to see before we get to the challenge part of it tonight that Chrissy had a nice part in there. And it seemed like this episode was short but long in that time they had a tribal council before we went to the challenge and the reward challenge. It seemed like it was like, okay, we just want to set up and let you see the people. So I think the most interesting person tonight it had to be Mitch, because Mitch was truly trying to say, I just want to make it 24 more hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. This was one, he's coming off of his like number one ally getting cut at the tribal council before, and then he immediately 24 hours later has to go to tribal council again in a smaller group where he's not as well connected with everybody. Like for him, it was just survive at all costs, because really, even though they merged technically, I guess this week, but then sort of last week, next week is the real merge, right? Where like, okay, everyone's all playing together. They're not anticipating this split tribe coming up, so they just know that they're just going to vote each other out like one after another until there's only 4 people left. So they know this is where the real like merged tribe and power dynamics come through. Like they could just pile on like a Mary or a Mitch next week, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think that they're going to people are going to try to like come out and put themselves in a good position to go far and start building that resume, if you will. So for Mitch, like surviving this was key. He needed to, because he is going to be in a way better spot next week, and he'll be able to find his footing a lot better in a bigger group when some of more of the big targets emerge. This is one where people, unfortunately, it seems like they were just trying to like not ruffle any feathers too much and just trying to cut loose people, who didn't have a ton of connections. So he was just like, okay, make sure it's Say and not me. So that was good for him. I think he's going to, I feel like he's going to be in a good spot.
Well, you say something interesting. This is the time when you start to build your resume. Yeah. I don't think there's a resume before the merge, because if everybody that knew what you did before the merge got voted out, guess what?
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah, they're not on the jury. They can't help you. You want somebody to at least know what you've done to validate, oh, yeah, I did that during when I was on my tribe. And yeah, you may have seen me win a challenge or work hard in a challenge, but ultimately, anybody that would cast a vote, if they get voted out before the merge, they're not a part of your resume. So you're right. Now you want to build your resume. And that is how you're going to have to win Survivor. So who do you think is going to strike first in the so-called, we'll call them the Milkman Alliance? Before we get to the challenge on the Milkman Alliance, who's going to undercut who first?
Well, I mean, it already seems like in the preview for next week, it seems like David is gonna, going crazy.
Man, we know how the previews work. They don't never.
Yeah, we know how they work. But yeah, it seems like he's might be taking some swings next week. But already it seems like Kyle is like setting up some of the chess pieces to like make a move against somebody. It seems like the way that he said, okay, if we can like plant a seed in David's mind, and then we see David in confessional. And again, who knows like when they put that there, when David said that, it could be editing tricks, blah blah blah. But it seems like it works though, from what they're showing us, that like they wanted to sow doubt in David's mind about Shaheen, and they did. So I don't know. I feel like
not enough.
I mean, not enough, but like I think that it. You could take the big swing of Shaheen now, but then you don't know how things are going to go next week. I think Kyle is setting himself up better. Him and Camilla, they're setting themselves up to make a deep run. And I think, Shaheen would be like one of those people like, I don't know, like a few seasons ago when they took out Kelly Nalbandian as like, that was like, okay, wow, the gauntlet has been thrown down. Like we are here to play. He could be that kind of like early boot.
Well, I think the best duos today is going to be Kyle and Camilla and Joe and Eva.
Camilla and Joe and Eva.
I think because they're willing to go to the end with each other. They've shown no signs of backstabbing. Everybody else, questionable at best. And they willing to work together. And I think Camilla and Kyle have the best undercover alliance this season.
I think they're super dangerous, the two of them. They like are well connected across the whole board. Nobody sees them as tight as they are, even though they played so well a few episodes ago when they sent Thomas home. They played that so well and clearly were in lockstep with each other, even though they made it seem like they weren't. But yet still nobody's like looking at them yet.
Well, that play was at the best time where there could be no blowback because you have to vote somebody else out. So it was only two of them, and it was the other three. So, and they were going to vote one of your players out. And those are situations where you can vote somebody out and not get the blowback. Yep. But what I don't realize is why Joe hadn't figured out or Shaheen figured out how tight they are.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, I mean, maybe they just recovered really well. And we saw that at the next episode where they bonded about, some of their origin stories and how like things that their parents and grandparents had gone through, which was really cool and really powerful. But I think so maybe that lowered their threat level like as a duo. Is like, oh, no, this is us. So we're a 4 right now. We did this because we had to, but yeah, no. We're a 4. And I don't know. I think that they're just playing it really, really masterfully, I think. And when people at the same time are they all have their eyes on Joe and Eva because of that big moment at the challenge and because of how well they have been performing in the challenges. Like Joe and Eva's threat level as a duo is going to be a lot higher than Kyle and Camilla's. So I don't know. As someone who drafted Kyle in our draft and feel like I have to be riding him or Mitch to the end. I do unfortunately feel like Mitch is not in as good of a position to win the whole game as Kyle is. But I think I don't know. Kyle's looking really, really strong right now.
Okay, let's see. We got Kimberly saying I think Shaheen may know, but he's just waiting for the right time.
Yeah. And I think it could be a matter of like who's going to strike first,
I think, and Kyle is right. I think it's going to be because here's a game of survival. No matter who you think you are in the game, only 3 can get to those chairs.
Mm-hmm.
So that means everybody else has to be voted out some kind of way.
Yep.
And now they go to the jury. So now you're concerned about how they get voted out and how is that going to impact your time if you make it to those final 3 chairs. But we see that everybody's trying to figure out who's looking like they might be the next one on the chopping block. Then we go to the challenge. You know what? I love a good challenge. And
is this a good challenge?
Well, you know what? Because it's in parts. It's a challenge that we've seen before, But I like the way it was divvied up in parts because it gave everybody an opportunity to make a decision on how can they win this challenge. Now, here's the crazy part. Them rocks is unfair. Them rocks will get you every time.
For sure.
And now we see where we got rocks, where we got Cedric and them. Cedric, the milkman.
Cedric, David, Mary, Kyle, Camilla, and Shaheen.
Okay, so they're on one tribe. Mm-hmm. And you're like, okay. I'm pretty sure when they pick the rocks out and you go stand in front of your actual station, you're like, okay, I got a good chance. Because to me, what I'm fighting for first is not to be the first one to go vote. Not the immunity part. I'm trying to fight for not going to be the first one because at least I know if I'm not the first, I still make the jury.
Yes, for sure.
At least I get a consolation prize.
For sure. If I'm sitting on that bench and, if I'm on like whoever's team I'm on between David and Joe, I'm rooting so hard for them. Because peanut butter and jelly is nice, but like I definitely want to be there on day 26, like at the end of the game, no matter what.
If I can't be the winner, I want to be a part of selecting the winner.
For sure.
I like to Kimberly gave me a shout out. Yes, I was decimated tonight. I am down to one player. So I'm trying to make it to the. Hey, I'm trying to check Star. I need you to make it to just one seat. That's it.
Ollie and Bruce, while we're speaking about the draft, are still completely intact. I don't know. I can't believe we let them do that.
Man, that Robin picking we did messed up my whole draft. I was like, who do I get down? And then by the time it came back around, I was like,
I know.
Hey,
I know. I got in my head way too much too, and like Camilla was right there, and everything in me wanted me to pick her, but didn't do it.
Look, and Bruce got the milkman by default. He didn't even try to pick him. He was like, "That's all you got left. It's the last player."
Yeah, and like not a bad pick. I would have taken. I mean, granted, I picked Kyle with my last pick over him, but David was like, for the purposes of our draft and how we do our scoring and everything, I thought he would be a good pick, and I bet he's going to be worth a ton of points. Bruce is going to go way up to the top.
He was number 18 pick.
But I don't think he's going to win the game, but like for how we do our draft and how we score, like I think he's a good person to have.
Well, yeah, for that part, because I'm like, look, man, he 18. Look, no matter where we cut it, 17 other picks went ahead of him. He was number 18, but he was still on the draft board. So, and Bruce is doing well with him. So no complaints on that.
Yeah.
We get there, we get the rocks, we separate the tribes, and now it's like, okay, here's our options on the board. You can both get immunity from both sides. Great. I mean, I don't have to get voted out tonight. So you make it onto the merge. You ain't got to worry about anything. Second thing, reward. Hey, whoever wins gets the reward. I'm not really a big fan of peanut butter and jelly on the island, but you do you. Okay. That third one was you get the vote, go to tribal council second. That's what we're playing for.
Yeah.
That we're playing for.
Yeah.
Now, the percentage of your body weight, I'm kind of like, what was David's body weight percentage in that bucket?
I know.
Because it looked like it didn't bother him at all.
Yeah, I mean, Joe too. Like both of them are like big, strong, like built guys, and
Joe, like he was struggling. Joe, you could see the pain on Joe's face.
He didn't look as strong as David did, but he still lasted.
David was
almost an hour or whatever it was.
And he was
holding on with one hand for most of it. I could not believe that.
Talking, he was like, "Hey, you're doing a good." He was even supportive of Joe doing it. He was like, "Joe, hey man, great job."
Yeah.
I was like, "Do we give pep talks to the person you're trying to beat?" I mean, you know what I thought was gonna happen? I thought he was gonna lose concentration, man, and let it slip out his hand.
I feel like that was our only hope because he was not just gonna grow fatigued quicker than anybody else was. That's for sure.
But it looked like he was. I mean, and then Kyle was in there for a long time, but he was like, "Man, my hand hurting."
Yeah, I think he read the room and saw there was no way he was beating David there.
But it had to be something said between them that the edits didn't show us that they had already said, "Hey, you better win this," because I'm not gonna give up knowing that you're gonna. And it kind of almost gave the vibe like he was like, "Hey, man, you go ahead and take it." No, buddy, you got to get your group over the finish line. So whoever gets voted out makes it the actual jury, because that's what I'd have been championing for. Hey, man, stay strong. But it almost looked like we need to change that challenge.
Yeah. I mean, what about it? What about it do we need to change?
Well, it can't be, you can't tell me it was 20% of his body weight, because he got to be like 260.
I mean, then
that's 250.
I mean, then that's like, 50 plus pounds that they have in there. I believe it.
Yeah, but he made it seem like his hands wasn't hurting. Like,
I mean, maybe a gallon of chocolate milk a day. That's what it'll do for you, I guess. Like with that on top of all your on top of all the weightlifting. Like
I'll tell
I
you
don't
something.
know.
No.
It clearly he looks pretty strong.
And the reason being is like my arms were killing me from bamboo hunting. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then just the cramping up and everything else. I'm like, but he looked like, hey, he's out there surviving. So we're gonna give him credit as due. So we see where Joe wins immunity. We see where Jeff is funny in the sense that Jeff always want to capture a speech. We see Shaheen singing the song and now they're making a commercial, Kyle making a commercial, doing the episode. I was like, oh, so now we're doing commercials? He's like, Jeff was like, let's do a commercial. So I thought that was kind of a different flavor of Survivor at the moment.
Yes.
Oh, look, this is a good one because I remember Gabler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, that was the one when he was like giving a shout out to like everybody and their
the
mom
vets.
for like, yeah, this is like, oh yeah, this next minute is for so and so.
I gave a matter of fact, I texted him when he was when the show was airing. Great guy. I got a chance. We talked plenty of times that we meet at different events, but Gabler definitely channeled a lot of what he holds valued in to get him through that challenge. Not thinking anybody was actually going to break that challenge, but that was a long time. 52 minutes. Was it 52 minutes?
I think I heard him say I think like 52 or 53. So it was a long time.
No, I'd have been like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here. Now
it's probably hot there too, so your hands are all sweaty. Like
it's muggy. I mean, it's a lot of humidity. That's why I was surprised. It just seemed like his hand just wasn't moving.
I know. I feel like just like getting sweaty alone would make it really hard to hold on to there, like regardless of the body weight.
Hey, we couldn't have this conversation about the challenge. We didn't leave. Eva was in there talking mad cash up to them folks. It's like, yeah, we're gonna see how long.
She had a really good showing. She lasted a long time.
She was in there and she was competing. I think if you'd have kicked out, you'd have had to kick out the milkman. They would have to go. I think she would have had a fighting chance of Mike winning, but you'd have had to kick one of them out.
Yeah, depending on her draw. I mean, well, we saw she outlasted everyone, but did she outlast Kyle? I think either Kyle seems like he dropped because he knew he wasn't going to beat David. But either way, she outlasted 8 of the other 11 people that she was with. Depending on her draw, she very easily could have won if she had a different draw.
Now, what's crazy is if she was on a different season, she would have won.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of who they put together for your season to see what the competitiveness level is going to be like. Because she's very competitive. But if it been as one of the other couple of seasons, she'd have easily won that and won immunity. But we know she's not going home. She still has an immunity idol. So we still got that in the back pocket. So we go there. Now we win. Now we have the mad scramble to go back to camp and decide who's going to politic not to be voted out. So I only see where Cedric is in a situation. So he's trying to figure out what's going on. Mitch feels like he's in a situation. He has to go. I think the easiest vote tonight was Say.
Between Say and Mitch.
I don't even think it was anything between Say and Mitch. I think it was Say all along. I think the editing wanted us to believe that.
Yeah, I mean, we did see some conversations where they were throwing Mitch's name out there, but yeah, I think that is the one where people, she'd been, she didn't really have any besties in the game. No one who was really going to bat for her. She's gotten a ton of votes already, and again, like just due to the design of the game, like when you're just randomly broken up into these groups, like maybe there will be a golden opportunity for you to take a big swing in a setting like that. But I think for the most part, people just want to like survive that, get through, let the dust settle, and then adjust and make their move like once they're for real merged next week. So yeah, Say I think it was always going to be a casualty of this sort of thing, unfortunately. So yeah, it seemed like a pretty easy vote. I mean, both of them were like unanimous votes. So it's not, there's not really a ton of like drama or intrigue going on here.
I didn't think Mitch was going to get voted out.
I thought he was. I thought when they were giving him so much focus at the beginning of the episode, I was like, oh no, this is not looking good for him. I think this is his time. He's either going to win immunity or get voted out, but he did neither. So
when you start telling your story, you'd be like, oh, last night.
I know.
You're gone tonight. I
He
think it was
got
a good
some
lean
focus
into.
before tonight, but not like a ton. I think this was the most
No, when he
that
told the
he got for a
story and
while.
they were around the water well and everything, I said, "Oh man, Mitch is going tonight." I said, "Well, man, I'm supposed to see Mitch in a couple of weeks. Hold on, don't go tonight."
I know.
But I mean, and like you said yourself, I've been on the wrong side of the boat every time. So there, what Say wasn't gonna play with him. So and then Christy was the. I mean, for her, I thought she was gonna play with Say and vote Mitch out, but we're gonna see. We're gonna talk about that after the break. But we see where she was like the mastermind of you can't trust nobody.
Yeah,
So, and then we see,
yeah,
okay, Cedric, I think was another. You're right. Once you divide the tribes up and you do a challenge and you leave the tribes apart, you kind of left at a situation where did you fall? Like I think if they fell more with their tribe or the remaining members of their tribe, Say and Cedric would have been safe because her, Say, Cedric, and Mary would have had to bond together. Because,
yeah.
but other than that, you just kind of on the wrong tribes.
Yeah. It would have been interesting to see, like, how Say and Mary, they like mended fences, but then we never actually got to see them put their money where their mouth is for this. So it would have been, I thought it would have been cool to see if they put the three of them on the same tribe. It's like, okay, are they going to lock in and be like a
No.
solid three? Probably not, but it would have been fun to watch. Yeah, I don't know.
Look, at the beginning of the episode, I'm gonna tell you why it's not gonna happen. At the beginning of the episode, Say changed her writing to vote for Cedric. So no.
I love that she just wanted to get her licks back. Like Cedric voted for her twice and she wanted to get him back. I love
I mean,
that.
but that could have backfired on Say. You could have got your licks back, and that one vote that you needed, you wasted on Cedric.
That could
Now
have.
you got Cedric looking like, okay, who voted for me? And I got to give her credit on this one. She changed the writing style so he couldn't figure out it was her writing. And I was like, that's a good one. That's
It
a
is a
good
good
one right
one.
there.
It is
So,
a good one.
but
I think people should do that more often. People like throw rogue votes just to like, okay, I know there's 13 people voting here. Like my singular vote, it's probably not going to matter. So like, let's do something with this. I think, yeah, I don't know. I wish people did that more.
Look, that was funny because now Cedric's sitting in the dark talking about who voted for me. But we see where games played never stops. The game never stops. So we see where we got a situation where we're going to have to go to tribal council. And here's the thing about it is between the time they do the actual challenge in tribal council, there's a lot of time. There's a lot of time because we're kind of sitting around, we're doing interviews and things that we have to do for the playback. But ultimately, we see everybody kind of figuring out Eva's going to go with Joe. Joe's going to go with Eva. Then we got Mary. I think Mary would have been the swing vote if there was going to be a swing vote. But Mary was like, hey, I'm just voting. Just as long as you're not voting for me, I'm good. And that's sometimes it comes down to that. As long as you're not voting for me, I'm good with whoever you want to vote for.
Yeah. Yeah, that does happen. It's I don't know. And I'm not really a fan of this like split tribe thing after the merge, just because I mean I think that there's a lot of things about the game design right now that could just kind of leads to more boring, like conservative gameplay. Like we saw, last week, nobody really wanted to make a big move. So they're like, okay, we're just going to cut Charity loose because they knew that this is happening. And now this is happening. And like, especially because of the way things are drawn, no one's going to take a big swing. But even if we're to take a step back from that, like thinking about like what is a big swing at this point is all, again, just kind of arbitrary, just because like a lot of these people haven't voted together. We haven't had, it's not like, oh, one group's like coming in like with the numbers or anything, just because like the groups are so small anyway, and everyone's only voted like once or twice going into this. So yeah, I don't know. Basically we have from now until the end to really figure out, I don't know, who's a power player, who's going to be like impressing everyone else, because up until this point, it's just been, no real lines drawn.
I think it's about to get messy, and I want to see Messi into Survivor. But before we jump into that, let's have a commercial break.
What's up, guys? I'm Todd Herzog, the winner of Survivor China, and I am here with Survivor Now podcast, the best source for Survivor information, to show off what I do for a living. So I make custom Funko Pops. If you haven't seen or heard, you can check it out on Instagram at Todd's Pop Shop, or you can message me, toddspopshop@gmail.com, to order your own. And if you mention this podcast, you will get $10 off and a free torch. So it's pretty freaking awesome. I'm going to show you a few right now. We've got Troyzan here, Phil from The Amazing Race, JLP, host of Australian Survivor, And look, little Charlie. Anybody you could possibly imagine or want yourself playing an LRG or an ORG, or just with your loved one or family or pets or anything like that, shoot me a message. I'm happy to make it. You also have the chance to win a free custom pop if you sign up for Survivor Now Podcast Fantasy League. So it's pretty awesome. And it's fun. Like, who doesn't want to be a part of that? So yeah, hit me up, get your custom pops. It's great holiday gifts, great birthday gifts. We got a new season of Survivor right around the corner. I'm excited. I'm sure you're excited. Let's get this going.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. When I got my little Funko Pop, I was super excited. But what happens is every time I log in with Randy stuff, my virtual backgrounds are on my profile. So I can never bring my own stuff up like this. So next time I gotta bring it up. Okay. Now we about to get diabolical. Because now we gotta go vote. We gotta go vote. And I like messy Jeff sometimes. Because sometimes in tribal council, like I was there, I just really just wanted to sit there. One, I was exhausted. I just wanted to sit there. But Jeff is gonna ask you a question just to see if he can get that messiness out going. So we see where he starts, and he's talking to everybody. And I think one of the funniest part was, when Joe and them are talking, they're trying to keep it even keel. No, we're gonna keep playing. This is gonna be the game right here. We're not gonna do anything. There is no backstabbing in Survivor. Say talking to like, hey, we gonna all get along. I had great conversations today. I think we'll have a good night tonight. It's like, okay. Mitch talking, hey, no, we're not gonna get messy, basically. And then we get to Christine. Christine said, I don't know what game y'all playing. But I don't know. It can't be Survivor. And that is when I said, Say is going home.
Yeah. I think it was clear that she was saying, like, the honesty and loyalty thing can only take you so far because, that's not how this game works. Let's cut the pretense. We all know what we're here for. And yeah. So what made you think what about what she said made you clued you into the fact that Say was going home?
So if you go back earlier to when he was walking on the beach, she was like, oh yeah, we can play together. And then Say was saying, yeah, the last two votes, she voted the way she said she was going to vote. So that's some trust. So, but when she said, hey, no, this game can't be played that way, and she let Joe and him speak first. Star was like, I said what I got to say. And Star kind of stayed out of the whole conversation. But when she said this game going to basically have to get messy, that let me know. She said, okay, I told you I was going to do one thing. Now I'm going to do something else. Because we really haven't heard from her. Because at first I thought she was getting the purple edit, because this episode here, we didn't hear anything from her. Now, she was on the bench doing the challenge. She said a couple of things. But other than that, this is the first time we've heard her spoke in game mode. And she said, hey, it's got to get messy. But she was also making sure she caveat, not tonight. We're not going to get messy tonight. On me, of course. So I thought it was pretty interesting how she presented that information out there.
Yeah. Wait, you're talking about Star?
No. Star only co-signed.
Chrissy. You're talking about Chrissy.
Yeah, Star co-signed.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think it's really interesting because Chrissy was in that original alliance on the original Orange Tribe with her and Kyle and Camilla and David. That hasn't really been revisited ever since the swap. But she was like seemingly in a good position. She was in a good position on the swap tribe too. But also they haven't been giving her like a ton of confessional yet. So I don't really know what to make of her where she's at right now. But she definitely seems to have a good head for the game and can deliver in front of the camera. I mean, I guess that's why they cast her.
Look, I hate to even put this guy out here, but I'm gonna put him up anyway.
What's up, Bruce?
What's going on, Bruce?
Thanks for tuning in.
Look, Bruce, be out there say bye. Somewhere out there,
watch out.
We're gonna come across Say.
Hey, she was when we did our draft, she was like all up in our chat. She was like saying a whole lot.
I see Say all over social media. So Say is out there saying a lot of things.
She's a lot of fun. She's a lot of fun on social media.
I'll catch her somewhere here in person at somebody's event.
She does, yeah, definitely at one of these events.
It's I don't know if I want to. I'm gonna get back to that in a second. I think Tribal Council is interesting to get together because you can look at the edit and think it's going to go one way, and then you look at it and actually vote. You can actually talk yourself being voted out at tribal council. So we've seen that happen where people talk themselves into being voted at tribal council. And then you can have a situation where sometimes it's a vote. It's just a vote. You wrong timing, wrong tribe. It's just like, and nobody wants to be the one to go home. I think tonight, the one that I said, the player that didn't want to go home the most tonight was Mitch.
Yeah.
He said, whatever it takes for me not to, just give me 24 more hours.
Yep. And no, I said that too. Like I said, I think I said this on the draft with Mitch and I. We have a pretty good mutual friend, and this friend and I were texting a lot about Mitch tonight, just saying like, we need him to survive. And I told her like, okay, if he can make it through tonight, he will be able to find his footing. But this is like a really, really crucial, like tough one for him that he needs to just like make this out on the other side alive. And I'm really glad he did. Turns out he didn't like quote unquote like need to use his block of vote since everyone voted for Say anyway. But it was good to just like throw everything there and just make sure that
well, they can't say, again, every Survivor's a finicky game with finicky people that haven't eaten any food. And they know you got it, so you got to play it. Yep. That's like I think Eva has that target on her back.
For sure.
Because
for sure. That's gonna come around for her like pretty soon, I think.
Now I've had the opportunity to meet Cedric in person and talk to Cedric in person and laugh with Cedric in person. And Cedric said, hey, look, I didn't go to Survivor to play a physical game. He said, that's not. He said, when I got the call, I didn't have time. He's a runner. He said, I don't have time to get that type of physicality before I go out there and play the game. So that was never going to be his attack, and we got an opportunity, and I'm glad we got a chance to see the players. And I tell people it's great for them to develop the characters of the castaways so we can see them. Like we saw last week with Star and Cedric, or we saw with Joe and Eva. I mean, we're developing those characters when we see those stories and those backstories, so we see all those stories. But you're still playing a game. I think people miss that point sometime and think that you're still playing a game and you still have to vote someone out. And unfortunately, when you vote somebody out, there's always going to be a thought behind. Say, I'm not gonna lie, I would have voted her out because she voted Cedric with that one vote. And we see that you hold a grudge from vote to vote. So now I don't know if they were together, was she still got voted out, but it's a game and it's an interesting game and it's a twisted game and it's an unfair game sometimes. It's as we saw with Maria when they allowed Liz to go back and help on that challenge. Now I truly thought that was unfair. I thought that was trash by CBS. Yeah,
for sure.
And I don't know why
I didn't like that either.
Why somebody else hasn't gone and did the same thing. You know what? When we get to this last group here, if they redo that again, or they were told they couldn't do it again, I'm gonna have to ask somebody on the side because that was just I think for me, you took $1 million out of her hands and you gave it to somebody else. Now, they do both get along because I've seen them both together before. But I'll still be mad about that part.
Yeah, for sure.
But we see, okay, who's first voted out? Say was the first voted out.
Say was gone first, yeah. So Say missed the jury.
That's a hard thing.
That is hard.
That's a hard.
I mean, I think it's always hard to miss it, to be in that spot anyway, to be like voted out like just short of making the jury and then just short of being able to like be witnessing everything for the whole 26 days. But especially for such an arbitrary reason of like you were on the wrong side and the person on the other side beat the person on your side. That sucks. That really sucks.
Yeah, we had two good players on both sides. Yeah, we had two good players on both sides. To me, it wasn't an uneven match in that sense. But so what happens is when you don't make the jury, that group never sees the other group again.
Yeah,
they're not there
because in the new era they just send you home, right? Once the jury starts.
Well, ours was a little different. They sent us to mainland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when you're in Fiji, you're actually on an island, filming on an island, and you have to go back to the main island where the airport stuff is at and transition to the airport stuff. So you don't go directly back, but you're heading back. So that group will never see the other.
Did you stay there then until day 26, or did you just go Did you go?
No, we stayed longer than we normally could stay because we had to get a flight out. So it wasn't like flights were flying out due to the pandemic. So we stayed for an extra week after we all got voted out.
Got it.
Because we had to wait for Sydney was the last person to join the group. So we had to wait for them to vote, wait for them to bring Sydney over, and then they had to find a plane for us to get out. So I was a little different, but that group won't see the other group.
Yeah.
So they'll go ahead and leave. And then when Cedric gets to Ponderosa tonight, he will be by himself.
Yes. Yeah.
Which can be, now when I say by himself, there will be the handlers, the people that are there that look after us and stuff. They'll be there. But there's nobody to laugh with, nobody to joke with really. And you're kind of left to your own emotions because there's nobody that can really, unless you play, you can watch the game even though they're there, but you don't really understand the feelings of it until the next person comes.
Yep.
And then the debauchery will start because now you're trying to figure out who you gonna give $1 million to. Don't get it twisted. It will start as soon as the next person gets there.
For sure. So
whoever gets voted off next gonna tell everything that's going on and gonna fill them in, and then they just gonna be like, hey, they're gonna start spilling tea. There's gonna be a whole tea fest with all of them. So it's gonna be kind of interesting. But we see where Say gets voted out, she's gone, which is kind of crazy because she has to leave first, and then Cedric has to get there. So Cedric doesn't make it to the his adventure is over from playing standpoint. But to me, if you're on a jury, we still see you every week.
Yep.
Every week. Yep. So next week I'll be judging Cedric on his outfit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll be curious to see what sort of outfit he's wearing. I think this is always so interesting around this time because the divide of like who makes a jury and who doesn't with this twist where they split the groups into 2 groups of 6. It's so much more pronounced now than it ever was before. And Star was saying like, oh, everyone's like, oh, I want to be on the jury, and she's like, no, I don't want to be on the jury, I want to be in the final 3, so you're voting for me. Which, I mean, yes, so does everybody, but to get there, you have to make the top of the final 11 first to get to the jury phase in order to get to the final 3. And I don't know, if it's me, I at least feel like I can exhale a little bit and be like, okay, no matter what, I'm in here all the way to the end, whether as a player or as a juror. And then you can, I don't know. You know how sometimes when people like win immunity and then they can play a little bit more aggressively because they know that, someone can't come after them. I feel like I don't know, for certain players, they're like, okay, well, at the very least, like I made the jury, I'm going to be here. I can maybe take a little bit bigger of a swing, and not, maybe not be as conservative or not be as skittish as it would be pre-jury. Because I can see, because a lot of people, they just are like, okay, I took all this time off work. I cleared my whole life. I did all this work to get here. I don't want to go home early. So I can see why they like play a little conservatively in the beginning.
Well, I mean, you want to try to live the adventures as long as you can. But to me, Survivor's played in stages. 1, make it to the merge. Nothing really, because you really can't even plot your course to winning Survivor if you don't make it to the merge.
Yeah.
So if you get voted out for the merge, I think Joe made a good statement in his statement saying, hey, I can kind of see the finish line, but that's not it. I don't think Joe and Eva will sit next to each other in the final 3 at all. One of the other will make it, but both of them won't make it.
Yeah.
The question is who gets voted out.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if I see either one of them making the final 3. Actually, I think people are gonna cut them kind of early.
Yeah, I think they got a good story, but I don't think they're gonna make it to the end. I think we're gonna see some situation. I could see Kyle. I could see Camilla making it to the final 3
for sure. I could see both of them.
I could see Star, but Star has to play more.
Like that thing that she said about like, oh, I want to be the one there. Like, I don't want to be on the jury. I want to be in the final 3. I'm like, that felt pretty deliberate. That they
like, something next week we don't know.
No, I don't know anything. But I'm like, that's interesting that came from her, but they haven't given us a whole lot of her yet, but also they haven't had to because she wasn't, I don't know. She didn't go to tribal council before the merge.
She didn't make.
I don't know. That was interesting. So I could see her going far. I could definitely see Mary in the final 3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see Mary. I mean,
I don't either, just based on edit alone. But she, never say never.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone's eyes were on Erica from your season at this point. With 10 people left in the game, I don't think anyone was looking at Erica just yet as a winner.
Erica is the greatest winner of season 41.
She is a
Will
great
always
winner.
ever be
No.
my friend.
I love Erica. Like, as a player, as a winner, I was rooting for her from really early on. And I think it was after Shan went home in your season, I was like, wait, I think Erica's winning. You know, like I saw it. It was all, you know, I think she was a solid winner.
It's a blur.
Does not deserve any disrespect at all. She's like really, really solid.
I'll tell you a cool story.
But I'm saying, like, at this point at the final 10, I don't think any fans watching the show had their eyes on her as a potential winner.
No, I'll tell you.
For me, it wasn't until like after Shan went home. So when there's 7 people left in the game, but she didn't really emerge until like the very end.
Yeah, there was our season is interesting in some other ways.
Yes.
Here's an interesting story. So for all you future Survivor players, including yourself, Josh, so you do promo before you actually start the game. So we have to do there's a picture of us walking down the beach in a row. What you don't see is all the debris and trash that we're walking over, and we're barefooted. And it's like, for real? Well, the drone was so high, we were talking. And I had Erica switch with me. I was like, hey, there's no debris over here. Walk on this side. And I didn't think anything about it. We just switched places and we walked. Now, me and Erica never met during the game. So one day I go and I look through my DMs on IG, and it's Erica with her phone number. I had never spoken to her before until she DM'd me and she said, hey, thanks for moving over on the beach. So it's the game of Survivor is just an interesting get together. And then I went to Bryson Wynn event in Canada, and that was the first time I ever met her outside of the game.
Yeah.
So, but it's always going to be subjective. It's always going to be something that people gravitate to or repulsed by. You know, so it's gonna always be that way. And like this season here, I think we had great gameplay. Matter of fact, Mary posted something on social media, kind of cryptic, but now that I've seen the episode, I said, okay. And to meet her in person she is just as much of a fireball in person.
Oh, she seems like so much fun.
She is
so much fun. I hope to meet her someday.
So when you meet her in person, she that personality is even more than what we see on TV. But we see that everybody now will have a play in who's going to be the winner for this season. Everything's locked in. We voted out everybody that's not going to make the cut. Cedric is sitting back having something to eat, and he will be sitting at Ponderosa. He'll be okay. He'll get a good shower tonight, but he will have to sit with the emotions of his playing game has ended. But until you get to the final 3, guess what? Everybody else playing game will end too. We're just going to say, where are you going to remember him at? But I enjoy seeing Cedric play. I think I enjoy seeing it to some things when you meet the players and you get a chance to talk to them and get a little personal reference about them, and then you see them play. Mary was as funny in person as when I see her play. Star in person is pretty reserved. It's kind of funny because I'm like, will we ever see that edit of Star? And I'm glad we're starting to see Star speak up, but I want to see how she plays moving forward. I'm with you with saying, hey, now that you made the merge, who's going to play Survivor?
Yeah. And again, maybe there are some people who are going to be a little bit more conservative, a little bit more patient at this point, just because, they want to wait for their big move to happen. But I think that we might see people let their guard down a little bit more, especially because really the game stops when there's 4 people left. So you have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So you only really have 6 rounds of real play. That's not a ton of time to advance your game and build your resume and all that stuff. So there's not that many shots to take. So people are going to start taking them.
Okay, now, so out of everybody that's left, who do you want to vote off?
Who do I want? What?
You want to vote. If you had a vote in Survivor today, out of everybody that's left, now,
as a fan?
As a fan, who would you vote off right now?
Oh, man. See, this is tough because, I don't want to get any smoke from any of these people, but
they're nice people in person.
I will say I'm also looking at Ollie and Bruce's draft teams because I definitely want them to get knocked down a peg.
The milkman is gone.
I'm gonna say this guy. He seems great. Shaheen. He seems great. He's on Ollie's draft team though, so there's
Oh,
that. But also,
better.
I think just watching this tonight, I'm like, I feel like this would be, they are potentially setting him up for like a good blindside. And I think I'm here for it. I mean, I think not necessarily nothing against him because he seems great and he seems like a lot of fun and really charismatic and I'm enjoying him. But I do think that his departure would like shake things up in a way that would make things really interesting, especially because we saw him in the beginning of the episode today saying, "Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle. A lot of if there's someone's going to make a move, it's going to go through me."
That's why I thought he was gonna get voted out tonight.
Yeah, that's why I thought that too. I thought they were definitely setting him up for that. So then that got me thinking like, okay, well, maybe it actually would be a little more interesting. It would open up the game a lot more once he were to go. I'd love to see like something like that happen and like a line clearly drawn in the sand. Yeah. So no disrespect to him. He seems great. It's a ton of fun, great casting choice. But I do think that I think that would be an interesting outcome. And also Ollie would lose someone from his draft team.
Which is something that we really kind of enjoy. I mean,
yeah,
I'm just saying. You know what? I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, who would I just vote out? Just be like Messy Jeff. I'm agree with you with Shaheem, but I think I would also take out not because I just think it will cause so much drama, and sometimes you like a little messiness. I'm gonna vote out Eva.
Yeah, that is no, that's a good choice too. That's a good choice too.
I want to see how Joe plays when they vote her out.
If he like if they vote him out, especially in like if it's like really brutal fashion or like people who were like Star, Shaheen, or David or someone like turns on her or like it's just like, oh, she's too big. Like if it's like a really dramatic like sad thing and then you just see this like other side of Joe just get unleashed, like that could be really, really interesting. I'd be here for that. Again, Eva's also seems great, lots of fun. No disrespect to her, but I do think that the ripple effects of that on the rest of the game like would potentially be really, really interesting.
I just want to see something messy at the end. I'm like, hey, let's
for sure.
We in Survivor to see messiness too, so we're not above it. I just want to see it, but I think that would turn Joe to either, if he wants to try to win Survivor, now I'll put it right here. The first note in his resume is, I want an immunity challenge. Okay, so now you need to build from there. Same thing with David. I want immunity challenge. Where do I build from there? Kyle, I want immunity challenge because enough people that still saw him win it. So you got three people. If they're sitting together, you can't say, well, I want immunity challenge. Well, yeah. Now Kyle will beat out Joe and he will beat out David because he blindsided and that tribe is still there. The tribe members are still there. So he has more to go with. So if we played the end of the game today and Kyle was one of the three, he would get my vote on the jury.
Yeah, Kyle has been playing a really solid game so far, and he seems like he's going to be positioned to go like really far too.
Which brings Shaheem in there to vote him out. We're gonna see how that happens too.
I think I see Kyle and Camilla striking first. Oh, I really do.
I think I think that they have the best duo to pull it off. And I don't know because they weren't gonna vote out Cedric tonight. So I don't know if it was too early to pull that vote and we didn't see it happen, or Cedric is just the right vote. Unfortunately, sometimes it just, like you said, these splits don't, like Nasir. The only reason Nasir got voted out is because of that split, and it was just him, Erica,
Heather, Shannon, Ricard, and
he was just in the wrong place, wrong time, and he had a night. He just didn't play. He was too comfortable, and had he played it, we could have probably seen him at the end.
Yeah,
but
I don't like the split round. I think that you should do the. I mean, I don't know how you feel about the double boot pre-merge, but it does make more sense because like you're already in groups of 3 different groups. So like just like I don't know, only one wins immunity, the other 2 go. That makes a lot of sense. I don't like when they just randomly split up into these groups and then immediately have to go vote someone. It's like, I don't know.
I didn't like the guinea pig 41 first vote out. We vote out 2 people.
I think they should do that closer to the merge. Right, not right away. I think they should do it pre-merge, but like closer to the merge.
This is for CBS. This is now for the fans out there watching. We become invested in the players when we know who the players are.
Yes.
So if you start decimating the players, we don't know who they are. So by voting 2 people out the very first vote, we don't see castaway development.
Yep.
Now voting one of us out, keep it moving. That's going to happen regardless. It's always going to be one person voted out. But voting 2, and I'm with you. closer to the merge, yeah, do something where you vote 2 people out and be done with it. Because you could have done the same thing and not have to go through the messiness of it.
I mean, they used to do that all the time. Like back in the day, like almost every single season for like good 5-6 years, there would be like a double boot pre-merge, just as a way to like kind of like move the game along. And it was never like right away, right at the beginning. But yeah, I think somewhere in the pre-merge they should do that rather than put it into these 2 random groups where I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's your opportunity to survive or your opportunity to make a big move or your opportunity to do something flashy. We've seen people like take good advantage of that, but really it's like pretty random and arbitrary and like unlike the rest of the game, and it's not really satisfying as a viewer. Also, I'll say that.
I will give a throwback to Joe trying to say the old island. When you don't get any peanut butter, you get to go back to the old island. Give them some Flint. I mean, they're going to be there. They ain't doing nothing anyway. So I know. Okay. Oh, another thing for future Survivor players, every island doesn't have the same vegetables, whatever amenities on them. So you might be starving and just eating coconut, drinking seawater. Okay. Oh, we got to give a shout out. Hold on. We got to give a shout out to our other shows. This is the after show. Me and Josh are here. Don't worry about Randy and Bruce. Come join us for Got Something For You. That's going to be on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Also, Survivor Stock Watch. Also a good show. I got to jump on that one time. I got to let Will got to let me on the show. I'm going to jump on there. Followed by Survivor Social, which I do tune in to Survivor Social from time to time.
They're fun.
One, they have great guests on there.
They do.
So I'll be like, I got to jump on there. So I tune in and watch Ted with. Great show. Always want to tune in and check it out. Followed by, join our Patreon. Did I miss it? Yeah, okay. Join our Patreon. That is our group picture. Hey, they did a good job with the group picture.
Yeah, they did.
From last year's finale.
Yeah.
So that's why. That's something else we're working on. We got to get that off. Okay. Okay, Josh, I think we did a good job tonight.
I think we did too. It was fun. It was fun holding it down with just you.
They're going to let us do it again, man. We're going to be out of hand. I'm going to have a drink in my hand.
Wait, and next week is when they're all going to be at the Ron Clark show in Atlanta, right?
They will be at Ron Clark, but
will you be there? Will you be here?
Here's the crazy part. I fly out to Atlanta on Friday for my niece's 30th birthday party on Saturday. That's why I won't be at Ron Clark's thing.
Oh, so you're going back.
I'll be
early.
here.
Got it.
Okay. So, and they're doing the episode from there. Don't get me wrong. I would love to be at home. I will be in Atlanta at home. I'll just be a week early, and I'm not going to stay 3 days because I would end up spending a week there. My job might be looking for me. They might be like, hey.
That's a tough thing with the show being on Wednesdays and all these watch parties being on Wednesdays, and like, you have a job or like commitments during the week. It's tough.
Here's the crazy thing. We didn't get a chance to go to the Ron Clark thing during our season. And I've wanted to go to and be a part of it. And I just, now the one time we get invited as a podcast, I can't go because I'm already be in Atlanta. Now, if it was next weekend, I would have just stayed in Atlanta and then did my niece's birthday from there. But no, I will be back in Texas. But y'all will be able to find us on next week. They're doing the podcast from that location, I'm not mistaken.
They're doing the pre-show, live before that.
Pre-show will be live from Ron Clark's Academy. It's an academy in Atlanta for the youth there. It's a great school. Ron Clark was a part of the Survivor family, and he's done great things ever since then. One day we're going to meet. One day I'm going to be in Atlanta. One day we're going to meet. So look out for the show. It will be live, so that's going to be pretty interesting to interact, and it's going to be a lot of different people there. A lot of Survivor alum comes out, and from my understanding, most of the cast from season 48 will be at Ron Clark events. So I'm gonna hit the button. Here's the button. Bam. Nope, didn't work.
For pinch hitting, you've been doing a great job.
Okay, hold on. Let me try it again. Hey, look, but I teed it up. I'm gonna hit the button.